Yeah, the question ran away about Mashiach.
What's the answer though?
I don't know what the answer. I don't know what the question is.
He wanted to know what are the 4 conditions for the Mashiach to be Mashiach.
4 conditions?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it was to have.
I don't know why he thinks there's only 4 conditions.
There's more.
There's many more. Gemara says it in several places. Gemara Masechet Sotah, page 49, has at least a dozen conditions over there. In Masechet Sanhedrin, there's probably another 24 conditions over there. I don't know. I mean, I could pick 500. I mean, it's not a why 4? Where do we come up with this for? I mean, first and foremost, he needs to be a descendant of David HaMelech. If he's not a descendant of David HaMelech, then that means he also has to be Jewish. That means he also has to be righteous. He cannot be a Mechalel Shabbat and also the Mashiach. He cannot be a Kofer and also the Mashiach. That cannot be.
Could he do before?
Huh?
Before and then stop.
A Baal Tshuva, yes, he can be a Baal Tshuva. He can be a Baal Tshuva, yes.
When you say descendant of David, does that be direct like to the father, or it could be like
From the directly from the seed of David HaMelech. Has to be directly from the seed of David HaMelech. I mean, as far as those 2 qualities alone already limits 99.999% of the population. Just to be a descendant of David HaMelech. There's a few people that believe they're the descendants of David HaMelech, but even fewer actually know they are. Some people actually know that they are descendants of David HaMelech because they have a very famous, long history of family. Like, for example, the Pinto family. The Pinto family are known that at least a good part of the Pinto family are actually descendants of David HaMelech. Doesn't necessarily mean that the Mashiach is going to be from that family. There are other families like that. Point is that that's a family that has a very, very long history that's well known in the Torah world. That Baruch Hashem, it's like if somebody said, "Oh, Mashiach is, his last name really in this world was Pinto," it wouldn't be a surprise. Why? Because that's something that we already know. There are other families like that. That are famous families that are descendants of David HaMelech. But the point is that that's just one requirement. The person has to be very righteous. It also has to be a certain type of generation. Certain things have to happen in the world. He obviously has to be alive. For somebody to, some people believe that he could be dead and then become the Mashiach. Aside from being silly, aside from being a silly notion, it's also a very not just that. It's aside from being, it's also a very limited mindset.
So Mashiach cannot die.
Well, here's the thing. There is one opinion in the Torah that's being misinterpreted to some extent by the Abarbanel, that the Mashiach can be, someone that gets resurrected, someone that died and comes back. There is one opinion. Universal opinion rejects it. Everybody says he has to be alive. But this is on the Gemara Masechet Sanhedrin. So that's why Chabad, for example, says, so see, there you go. So the Rebbe could be the Mashiach. But here's the problem. The Gemara continues, and that's what they don't tell you. The Gemara continues and says, if it was somebody in a generation of Daniel, it would be Daniel the prophet. If it was in a generation of Rebi HaKadosh, Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, it would be Rebi HaKadosh. If it was in a generation of Chizkiyahu, it would be Chizkiyahu. It actually says Hashem wanted to make Chizkiyahu a melech, and so on and so forth. Which means what? Which means that if it was a resurrection, it would be one of them. It wouldn't be somebody from today. Because they were Kol HaKavod to the Lubavitcher Rebbe and any other tzaddik. We all know there are rules in the Torah. We are constantly deteriorating from generation to generation. We're not increasing. No matter how great the Lubavitcher Rebbe was, or even Rav Ovadia was, or Rav Eliashiv was, or Rav Kanievsky is, or his father, the Steipler Gaon was, or even the Rambam. Not a single one of them is qualified to be a talmid of Rabbi Akiva. Why? To be a talmid of Rabbi Akiva, you have to resurrect the dead. To be a talmid, you have to resurrect the dead. Not one of them can resurrect the dead.
Were they resurrected dead, like within a few weeks, or like
A second.
somebody that was 1,000?
A second. Both.
That's both.
Both. No limitations. When Antoninus used to study, Antoninus was the Roman Caesar. He used to study Chavruta with Rebi Kadosh, Rabbi Yaron. He built a tunnel underground. Muhammad Sechet Avodah talks about fantastic story. They were Chavruta since they were babies. But he couldn't tell his people because they would kill him. He was a Anyway, he built a tunnel. The Gemara says, between his place to Rebi Kadosh. And every day, at night, he would go there to study Torah with him. And he would take he would have to go constantly with 2 soldiers. Wherever he go, he had 2 soldiers with him, to guard him. But he couldn't afford to have any witnesses. So he killed one of them over there. And he killed one once he arrived. So that way there's no witnesses.
It wasn't murder?
No, it's considered, the Gemara says it's considered pikuach nefesh. If he didn't kill them, they would tell on him and they would kill him. So it's pikuach nefesh. It's like they had din rodef. Rodef meaning as if they're going to kill him if he doesn't kill them. So anyway, one day, he tells Rebi HaKadosh, because Rebbe, listen, just make sure nobody is ever here. Nobody's ever here. One day, Rebi HaKadosh is studying with one of his Talmidim, and Antoninus shows up after he killed one of his soldiers right outside, and he goes inside. He said, "Oh, Rebbe, I said, nobody here. Nobody here." I said, you told me this here. We had a deal. My life is in danger. Rebbe says, no. Don't worry. You shouldn't consider him like a human being. He's like a malach. He's like an angel. Such tzaddik is like an angel. So Antoninus says, "Oh, you're like an angel? Okay, you know what? Go outside and bring my soldier in here." He didn't tell him he died. He didn't bring my soldier inside. Tell him to come inside. Since you're here, let him bring also outside. So the Talmid goes outside, and he sees the guy's dead. And he says, "My Rebbe taught me that only a fool brings bad news to a king. Only a fool brings bad news." So what did he do? He brought him back to life. So now, Antoninus,
Isn't that worse?
no, it's good news. He thought that he didn't know he'd lie. He didn't know that he's killing them. So he brought him back to life. He said maybe somebody murdered him. So he brought him back to life. So he brings him back to life. So he's like, wait. So then the Gemara says, Antoninus laughs and he says, Rebbe, you see, yeah, of course, all of your Talmidim can do this. They're all like Malachim, but next time, please, don't bring anyone. Don't bring anyone. It's meaning that anyone that was a Talmid of Rebbe, which was even lower than Rabbi Akiva, had that ability, and it also talks about Rabbi Akiva's Talmidim. Where do we learn from there? We learn from there that anyone that's actually named by name in the Gemara, where it says Rabbi such and such, Rav such and such, it actually says their name, that's a person that was able to revive the dead. Why? Because there are many places where it just says somebody said such and such, but we don't know who it is. Now that somebody is a tzaddik, kadosh, but he did not have the degree to be named in the Gemara. Why? He wasn't at the level of reviving the dead. So to finalize the point is that what people are mistranslating with this Gemara about somebody that's resurrected, even if you want to use the single interpretation commentary by the Abarbanel of somebody that's reincarnated or somebody that's comes back to life, it still would not be anybody from this generation or any time recently. It would definitely be somebody from previous generations because they were much greater than us. Most likely, if I had to guess, it would be Chizkiyahu. Why Chizkiyahu? Because Chizkiyahu is the only person on earth that HaKadosh Baruch Hu actually writes in the Torah, I wanted to make him Mashiach. It actually says Hashem wanted to make him Mashiach, but he made a mistake, so Hashem decided no, not Mashiach. But he was 1 second from being Mashiach. That was the closest we ever got to Mashiach. And there's a verse in the Torah that says Hashem wanted to make him Mashiach. Hashem desired for him to be Mashiach. What was the mistake? Mistake was that he didn't celebrate Hashem. He didn't thank Hashem like his grandfather David HaMelech did. David HaMelech used to sing to Hashem. And Chizkiyahu did not sing to Hashem when Hashem made a miracle for him. So the Malach HaMavet says, if his grandfather sang to you and you didn't make him Mashiach, how are you going to make him Mashiach? He says, you're right, he's not going to be Mashiach. But Hashem actually had the desire to make him Mashiach. Point being, Rabotai Karim, is that if a person knows a little bit of Torah, it's very, very easy to arrive at the right conclusion. And know what's yes, what's no, what's kosher, what's not kosher. But when somebody just picks and chooses what they want to know, what they like to know, what fits, what they already know, and so on and so forth, then you can make all types of convoluted beliefs and understandings, and you can say that maybe one of you guys is Mashiach, you can call me the Mashiach, maybe Michal's going to be the Mashiach. You're going to say anything you want. But point is that reality is, Torah says there's certain rules, and it's very clear. It's very clear who's not the Mashiach. Who's going to be the Mashiach, B'ezrat Hashem, we'll see. But
can a woman be a Mashiach?
No, that was just a joke.
Sorry, Michal.
That was just a joke. I don't know, maybe Hashem is going to make an exception for Michal, I'm not sure. No, anyway, anything else? Anything else? Anything else?
I'll wait for Wednesday because I might get $50.
I might get $50, okay. Anybody else with questions about today's shiur? I know it's a little bit deep today, Baruch Hashem, so I may have lost some of you guys today, but Hashem, I'll try to make it a little simpler next week.